Welcome back to All About Winning Daily Fantasy Sports. My name is Ty Patton. I first and foremost want to wish all of you a very happy and safe Thanksgiving from my family to yours. Draftkings has provided us with a 3-game slate to work with on Thanksgiving, with several different contests, including a Showdown contest for each game. In this video, I will break down the first game, which features two NFC North division rivals as the 5-6 Chicago Bears visit the 3-7-1 Detroit Lions. The Bears come in as a 4-point road favorite, and the game total has dropped to 37 points. I should mention this game, the line has went up and the game total has went down, and this is all a reflection of the uncertainty that surrounds the quarterback situation for the Lions, which we'll get into here in a minute. If the Bears have any playoff hopes at all, albeit very slim, this is a must-win. Both teams come in with questionable tags at several key players, which makes this game very difficult to break down. Before we dive into the particulars surrounding this game, I want to share some numbers that are fantasy relevant to the Showdown contest itself. Up to and including this past Monday night showdown between the Rams and Ravens, there have been 85 Showdown contests. The average winning score is 132.20. The average winning captain score is 42.76. Since the average captain score represents 31% of the average winning score, I focus a lot of attention to the captain's position. With that being said, the captain's position breaks down as follows. Underdog running backs have been the captain for the winning lineup more than any other position, 18 times for 21%. Favorite quarterbacks, 16 times for 19%. Favorite wide receivers have been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 14 times for 16%. Favorite running backs, 11 times for 13%. Underdog wide receivers have been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 10 times for 12%. Favorite defense special teams, 5 times for 6%. And the underdog quarterback has been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 5 times for 6%. Underdog kicker has been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 2 times for 2%. And the favorite tight end has been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 2 times for 2%. Underdog tight end has been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. And the underdog defense special team has been in the captain spot for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. Now, I also combine these numbers by position, and that reveals the following. Running backs have appeared in the captain spot for the winning lineup more than any other position combined, 28 times for 33%, 1/3. Wide receivers are next at 24 times for 28%, followed by quarterbacks, 21 times for 25%. All others represent 12 times for 14%. I also factor in the overall straight-up win-loss record of the winning captains, which breaks down as follows. Running backs in the captain spot, their teams straight up are 22 wins and 11 losses. Wide receivers, 13 wins and 11 losses. Quarterbacks, 15 wins and 6 losses. The overall record for the captain's position is 59 wins and 26 losses, which is 69% of the time. The favorite captain is 48, has been in the winning lineup 48 times for 56%. The underdog captain 37 times for 44%. Now, does this unlock the mystery of the Lions-Bears game and give you all the answers for the Showdown slate? Absolutely not. However, it does give us numbers that we can use that may or may not give us an edge. Some of the main takeaways from those numbers are as follows. Running backs appear in the captain's position more than any other position, 1/3 of the time. Running backs and wide receivers combine for 61% of the time, and the captain comes from the winning team 69% of the time. In this game, as I previously mentioned, there are a lot of injury concern, most notably the question mark that surrounds Jeff Driscoll. I checked the injury report right before I started this video. He's still listed as questionable. He's been limited all week. Not a definitive answer whether or not he's going to play. I would definitely check the injury report at 11 a.m. tomorrow because the game kicks off at 12:30. The injury report will be out. But whether or not Driscoll gives it a go or not, he has a hamstring injury, and that's going to hinder him. And last week in the Washington game, he has 63 yards rushing, which was the third most for the Lions this year in rushing by any player. And this not only does it hinder him rushing, it'll hinder him in the pocket. and getting away from the rush. And the Bears know this. They're going to come after him. So I would definitely temper my expectations for Driscoll tomorrow. If for some reason Driscoll does not play, an undrafted rookie free agent from Purdue, who was the backup at Purdue, named David Blah, will be taking over. I do feel like Driscoll will give it a go tomorrow. And the main reason I say that is because the Lions did not pick up another quarterback this week. And it's hard to imagine them going into the game with just one quarterback and being David Blau, because I mean, if something happens to him, I guess you could get somebody who was a quarterback in high school or quarterback in Pee Wee football or something, but that's going to be all bad. So I do think Driscoll will give it a go, but I would really, really temper my expectations, which means you have to temper your expectations for the other skill players. Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, even the running back, Bo Scarborough, because if the Bears aren't going to respect the pass at all and they're going to stack the box, that's going to affect the running game as well. So that's something you have to consider when building your lineups. And due to this, at first I'm going to say the Bears come in, their main injury concerns are Taylor Gabriel, wide receiver, who's been ruled out, and they're really beat up at the tight end position. They're going to be rolling out Logan Thomas, a guy named J.P. Holtz, and I believe the other tight end's name is Hertzfeld? Horsted. So, I mean, if you're going to go that route, there's three of them there. I really don't have much interest in the Bears tight end position tomorrow as far as building for a showdown contest, but those are the names that you'll be concerned with. Now, with the quarterback issue for the Lions, that means that the Bears defense is going to be very popular in that captain spot. And for good reason. I mean, if you got a quarterback who's doesn't have any NFL experience, and you got this Bears defense, they're going to come after him too, and all kinds of bad things can happen. And you can see a situation where the Bears defense just totally controls this game. But I also feel like they're still going to have to score some points, and you have to factor that in. You just can't go with the Bears defense and then just fit all the best players in there. So you have to have some strategy if you're going to build that way. I'm not going to build that way, and I'll show you here in a minute the way that I'm going to go. But that's some things to consider, and that will be a very popular captain, because in the captain spot they are 8,700, which allows you to just put all the top players in there and go with it. And there'll be more skill to it than that. And with the showdown, it has a lot to do with correlation and game script and how you think the game's going to go. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But that's some things to think about. The Lions do have a DVP of 31 versus the running back. So that is Montgomery and Cohen. They have a DVP of 25 versus the quarterback, which is Trubisky, and a DVP of 22 versus the wide receiver. So that makes a lot of the Bears' offense very intriguing. Even though the game total sits at 37 points, I still feel like the Bears are going to put some points up, at least to get a lead. Anthony Miller's going to be another popular captain. He's received 20 targets in the last two games, 9 last game and 11 the game before. He was going to be really popular, especially with Gabriel ruled out. A lot of people are going to shy away from Allen Robinson because of the matchup with Darius Slay for the Lions. But one thing you have to consider is Robinson actually runs 40% of his routes out of the slots position. And when that happens tomorrow, that is going to be a phenomenal matchup, because he's going to be going up against Justin Coleman for the Lions. He has allowed the second most yards among cornerbacks in the slot and the most touchdowns in the NFL. So that's something to think about. So half the time, Robinson's not even going to be matched up against Darius Slay. Slay doesn't move over to the slot. And so that's something to consider as well. And you'll see with my build that I definitely kept that in mind. The Bears' weakness on defense is their running game, as they have a DVP of 20 versus the running back position. which makes Scarborough intriguing. I truly feel that the Lions are in a position to get overwhelmed in this game in all facets. The point spread has moved significantly in the past 3 days, and with so many injuries, they are definitely mismatched. I don't know how you can look at this game any other way. I do like the Bears' defense special teams, but I feel like the offense will have to do their part first. My process in building Showdown, and that plays into game theory as well. For the Bears to get their defense to um, get rolling, so to speak, they need to put the Lions in the position where they have to. I mean, the ideal position is Driscoll um, has very limited mobility. They're getting after him. He's in comeback mode. He's making erratic plays, or even worse, if that David Blau comes in, and we don't know anything about him. But I mean, he was a backup in college, undrafted, so I don't know what to expect out of him. But I mean, it could go all bad in a hurry, and you could definitely see the situation of a interception, pick six, or a sack fumble for a touchdown or something like that. But I do feel there are some pieces that will outscore their defense. Now, my process in building showdown contests is first I take a stand who I think is going to win. Next, what is the path to victory? Is it the running game, passing game? What are the matchups that favor this team to win? What players support this path to victory? And then after that, who are the top potential high scoring players in that game theory? And then I build around those captains. With that in mind, I'm leaning towards a bear victory, and I'm going to build around Allen Robinson as my captain. I think he'll be a little bit lower owned than the Bears defense, and a lot of people will probably have the running backs up there. Tariq Cohen will be popular. I'm going to go with Robinson with that 50% or more matchup that he's going to get in the slot when he's running his slot routes. I see Trubisky going to him, and I think it'll be enough. If this is going to be a low scoring game, the captain spot's not going to have to require much for it to be the high scoring on the slate. So I like Robinson. I think it's going to be a little bit contrarian. As I mentioned earlier, people scared off because of Darius Slay, and people haven't really looked into it and probably don't realize that there's another matchup involving Robinson that I think that the Bears are definitely going to exploit on their way to building a lead. So on their way to building a lead, and once they get there, I'm going to use the Bears defense. I just don't think the Bears defense outscores Allen Robinson. I believe they'll get it done with some sacks and some turnovers, but I don't think they're going to outscore Robinson. I could be wrong. I think they'll be more popular than Robinson in the captain's position. And for a larger GPP, that's the way I'm going to build this. Next, I'm gonna use the other piece of the Bears lineup who's going to be involved out of the backfield, probably catching a lot of passes early on, and that's Tariq Cohen. And he has the ability to take one to the house at any time. The matchup is really good. Detroit, number 31 DVP versus running back position, and Cohen. He's not the starting running back, but he does get a lot of carries, and he'll get his share of touches tomorrow. And when he doesn't get his share of touches, I'm going to have the other running back. And I'm going to have David Montgomery just in case Allen Robinson gets that pass interference at the 1 yard line and they bring Montgomery in to pound it in from the 1 or something. I know he's been horrible. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game. But in this game, with this matchup, I really like that. I'm going to use the one player that I think has actually the best matchup because the Bears are stingy against the pass. It's going to be difficult to pass on them. So, and if Driscoll does play, Scarborough might do just enough to score enough points to be valuable in this for this showdown contest. So I'm going to use the running back from the Bears, Scarborough. Let me see. He's got a little note. Let's just make sure. This last game against Washington, 98 yards and 18 carries, only one pass. And the game before, he had 14 carries for 55 yards. So against Dallas. So he's the one that's getting the carries out of the for the Lions. And that leaves me 4,500, and I'm going to go to the other player. If they are able to move the ball, I do believe that they'll get bogged down. Kickers always provide a nice floor, nice safe floor. Prater's averaging 9.3 fantasy points per game. If they get bogged down, you can see him being really active in the game. Thing scares me about taking a kicker on a team that might get behind is a lot of times the coach starts foregoing the field goal and start going for the touchdown if they're significantly behind. Hopefully that's not the case, and if it does happen to happen that way, hopefully Prater can get some kicks before that happens. So that leaves me 500 on the table. Not overly contrarian. I did see something where the average winning lineup is leaving just a little bit over $1,000 on the table, but leaving some money on the table. It makes sense. Now, I didn't use Trubisky, and I usually use the quarterback if I use the wide receiver in the captain spot, because the only way the wide receiver goes off is if the quarterback throws him the ball. But in this case, I think that Trubisky is not going to have to do so much, and Robinson can actually have a really good game in correlation with Cohen and Montgomery without Trubisky going off. So, that's why I built that way. So there's a lineup that I like. I really like Allen Robinson in the slot, and I'm going to be going with this in a few contests myself. Now, as I always do, I like to use an optimizer, and I use it for a few reasons. I take the players that I'm interested in, and I want to see the different randomizations of the players that I like, because I'm not going to see all the different randomizations, building them manually myself. I don't MME, mass multi-entry, not because I got anything against it, because if I could, I would. I'm just not in the position to do that. But definitely, if I could, I would be doing that. It just makes sense, and small investment for high return, especially if you have the right player pool. But what I do is I take the optimizer. I put a couple rules in there. Usually, if my quarterback is in the captain spot, I want at least 2 targets. A couple rules like that. I mess with the minimum, maximum exposures. I pick 4 or 5 different captains, with keeping in mind a couple game theories, and then I just let it go. And I set it for 150 lineups. And tonight I did it, and with the restrictions and exposures, it was able to give me 131 out of 150 requested lineups. So the players that I like, that's how many different randomizations it was able to give me. And as I always do, I always share with you guys my first lineup that it generated. And here we go. It had Trubisky at quarterback, or in the captain spot. It had the Detroit Lions in the flex spot, followed by Anthony Miller in the flex with Marvin Jones. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Marvin Jones, Allen Robinson, and Jeff Driscoll. And then again, let's check Jeff Driscoll one more time. Like I said, I checked it. It says now they're at 7:28. Lions are expected to start. Oh, David Blah at quarterback Thursday versus the Bears, pushing Driscoll down the depth chart. So there you go. So you can definitely make changes accordingly. When I did this optimizer, I didn't have that in mind. I thought because they hadn't signed another quarterback, maybe they're going to use Driscoll as the emergency quarterback, which that's really risky. But so this was a lineup that the optimizer generated. Um, I'm not. You definitely won't be using Driscoll in there. I don't know how much Blau is. If he's, I don't even know if he's listed on here. Yeah, here 6,200. That's real. That's real. Just to put it quite frankly, real ugly. I definitely wouldn't be doing that. I will probably lean more towards the Bears onslaught now um, than that with that news. And I was going to give you guys another one, and it's kind of goes along the line with Driscoll not playing quarterback. But if you wanted to go, this was actually a optimizer lineup, and it had in the flex, it had the Panero from the Bears, Cohen from the Bears, Robinson from the Bears, Driscoll, which we know is out, but it had Trubisky, and so that leaves 9,100. I wouldn't personally. It had, like I said, it had Driscoll in there, but with that news that they're expecting him not to play, there's no sense in putting that as 9,100 left. You could get that build, which is no, you couldn't. That's definitely an onslaught. That's no Lions at all. Let's go with take Trubisky out and put. I guess you could put Scarborough in there and just go with the Bears onslaught like that. You left 2,900, and that's not a bad thing. Being contrarian, that's how you take these down. That doesn't mean contrarian doesn't mean to scroll down here and find a $200 guy that you think might accidentally trip, stumble, and fall into the end zone, or fall on a fumble or something, and it's something weird. I mean, sometimes it happens. The other night, he wasn't low down on the list. My low player that I had was Willie Snead, who scored two touchdowns. Of course, that don't help you when you're going to take the stand that Todd Gurley's going to have a good game and keep the Rams in the game, and lower my expectations for Lamar Jackson and put him in the flex spot instead of the captain spot. That wasn't an award-winning move. But here you go. At least you guys now have the news that the Lions are leaning towards Jeff Driscoll sitting out. I hope this information provides some type of value to you guys, and you're able to put some winning lineups together tomorrow, and most definitely enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family and friends. So this wraps up the Bears and Lions Thanksgiving Showdown video. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I encourage you to please drop any opinions or comments below. Please share this video, like it, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, hit that notification bell so you get notified when my next video posts. Really helps me out a lot when you do that. My subscriptions have been trending upward. My viewers have been trending upward. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you guys following me. Don't forget to check your injury report tomorrow, which will be out at 11 a.m. for the Bears Detroit game, and we already pretty much have news. I'd make sure you verify that and build your lineups accordingly. I mean, you're going to have to temper your expectations for all your skilled players for the Lions. I don't know anything about this Ball guy, but I know if he was undrafted rookie free agent who was a backup, I don't know what we can expect, but it's probably not going to be all good with Khalil Mack bearing down on you tomorrow. Again, happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Good luck tomorrow. I'll see you soon with the Dallas Cowboys Buffalo Bills Showdown video. My name is Ty Patton. This is all about winning daily fantasy sports, and I'll see you again soon.